Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. On the first part, we showed the garage foundation going in, and now we're going to be showing the patio area and the shed pad. So right in between the existing garage and the house, we're going to do all concrete, so that'll give them a larger patio area and an easy pathway from the house to the garage. Here's some of the old oleander roots or stumps that we're pulling out. And they came out pretty easy, especially with that hoe attachment. So you see the yellow flags there? I had Dig Alert out here to locate underground utilities. Initially right here, we thought we had broken something. We thought this was actually the power to the garage, so we started looking in here to see if there was a fuse blowing, because we know that the Romex, someone stuffed some Romex in some PVC. So we just assumed it was a garage. Checked the fuse, there was nothing broke. And then Eric started pulling on that wire a little bit more and the whole tube came out. So it was something abandoned there, so no damage. So the existing concrete along the existing house there, where the trucks are parked, that just has cross slope in it, and that's it. It's level from front to rear. And that's what I was checking with the laser level here to see where the water is going to drain, because the garage floor is higher than all the concrete there. So it's sloping towards the house from the garage. And I wanted to see when it hits that new cold joint that we're going to be creating, where the water's going to go from there. And what we determined is we're just going to create a valley along the cold joint right to the backyard, right into this planter area. We exposed the footing of the wall because we wanted to see how narrow we could make the planter, but this was about it without breaking the footing. Right now, we're just kind of painting some lines out with the homeowner to see what kind of shape she wants this edge in, where it kind of comes around and starts heading to the front of the house. Inevitably, the shape we came up with was a straight with just some radius corners. Now we've got a string line across, checking the depth. It was probably at about 3.5 right there. So we ended up using the screed board, and then we started screeding right underneath that string line to get the full depth. You'll see that here momentarily. And this ground was really good. Just some rock and sand basically. But we got a really good base here. But there's the process of getting your grade just perfect. And it had to be perfect because this calcs out right at like 10.5 yards. And I had the maximum they'll carry out here in Bullhead, Arizona is 11 yards. And I didn't really want to do a cleanup if I can avoid it. And so I got the grade just on the money. All right, early in the morning, and we're starting to pour. This area right here is where that shed's going to get slid back to open up that driveway. This mix is a 3/8 rock. It's a 3000 psi. It has fiber mesh. It has retardant in it. And what else did we add in there? Oh yeah, we did a water reducer as well. So it may look like a 5.5-inch slump, but really it's probably like a 4 because of that water reducer. Here's the 4-foot bowl float working. We have a screed board right down the middle that we can pull off of. Also, along the existing driveway that we're meeting, I have some foam that I glued against the edge there. It's a little expansion foam. Also, it helps with drainage because you got that 1/2-inch gap all the way down that you could potentially just take that foam out. You know, once the concrete's completely cured, you could probably completely dissolve it or cut it out. Either way, dissolve it with maybe some acetone would dissolve that stuff, I'm guessing. But either that, or you could just cut it out, bend the blade in the saw, get yourself a little circular saw, bend the blade a little bit, and just run it through that foam and just chop it out. Here's the new light post. This is what they use to hang your panel, your amp panel, power for the house. Typically that's what these are used for, but here we're going to be using it for just a light post. We're 2.5 feet deep in the hole, and then also we're doing concrete around it. We've got a 3/4 inch conduit running to there and to the garage. We got schedule 80 coming out of the ground, because you either got to go schedule 80 or it's got to be rigid coming out of the ground, or EMT. That's what they like to see. The reason for that is if someone were to hit it with a trimmer or anything like that, you're not going to go through the pipe and into the wire.
Let me get a little more.
I just piled some concrete on the top of the front edge of that bowl float to get it out there to a hole. See how you just stopped the bowl float really quick? Jerked the concrete off the top of the bowl float into the hole. So this concrete was going off pretty fast. I think we were here no more than 3 hours from start to finish. And we did cut the joints in this. We're going to be doing all wet joints in here. They're going to be at about 7-foot spacing both directions. There's a big Fresno going on there. And as you can see, we're Fresnoing it and cutting joints, and the concrete truck hasn't even left yet. So that kind of gives you an indication how fast it's drying. Not easy cutting joints considering all the obstacles. We got a wall in one place where the poles are hitting. You got the house and a lot of excess debris, you know, that we're hitting with the poles. The whole house is under remodeling. That's why there's so many objects on the driveway right now. And here's the walking joiner. It's 1 inch deep with a 3/4 radius. Initially, we're cutting it with the 3-foot cutter, which goes about 2.5 inches deep. That gives you a real deep break of your aggregate. So technically, once you cut it that deep with that 2.5 inch, if you were to just to trowel that in and fill it in, you'd still get a crack straight, even though you don't see a joint. So there was a few moments here that we were just right on the edge of losing this one, really. I mean, it was non-stop, go, go, go. Even the pumper jumped in. He barely got cleaned out, or he was backwashing into the truck. And he came back and went, wow, this is going off. But he kind of jumped in a little bit, did a little work with us. That's the beauty of having a concrete pumper that's a finisher, is that if he's not going anywhere else, you can always, hire him out to stay and finish the concrete too, if you run into trouble. All right, I thought this was pretty cool. This is the pumper, and he has this tool that it's designed for honing out pipe, but it worked great for these concrete poles.
Is it designed for poles?
Well, I just measured the inside diameter of the pole, and you can. We use ball hones to do, like when we hone out cylinder walls or whatever. So they make them all the way to 6 inch, for diesel trucks or whatever. So I said, well, they've got to have small ones, and sure enough, 1.25 inch ball hone. Look, you can see the dust.
Yeah.
And then I know what that damn bolt float this
It
morning. When I
slides.
go park my shit, I just take and throw some WD-40 in there.
Right now we're brooming it. We're just putting the water out there. Instead of dipping the broom over and over, we just sprayed it lightly with water. Just went at it. But this thing turned out beautiful. Make sure you watch part 3 coming real soon, because that's going to put this whole package together, and you can see the entire transformation in that video. Have a good one.